Hello, Soul Fam. If you have been wondering how you can leverage and harness the energies of this very special pink full moon in Libra, then that's exactly what we're going to talk about today, including a really beautiful and potent water ritual that you can use to amplify and really accentuate the things that you are intending for this next chapter and bringing those forward, because it really is a complete rebirthing and new chapter that we're moving into as of this full moon moving forward. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Katya Marie, and I have been helping women, teachers, seekers, and visionary mothers, I call them, to align with their soul path. And then from that place, be able to create what they came here to create in this incarnation. So, let's jump right in. So, this particular moon is a big one. It is like an evolutionary turning point. It is a catalyzing event. It's a point of no return. And so, it's really a big deal. So, we're going to look at the influences energetically, cosmically, from a numerology perspective, as well as some astrology too, and just harmonize all of that to give you a big picture overview of how these different energies are influencing how you may be feeling, and perhaps more importantly, how your soul is helping you to evolve, leveraging the energies at this time. And so that's also where this water ritual is going to come into play that we're going to get into a little bit later. All right. So, first and foremost, one of the really interesting things that I noticed was that this particular full moon arrives at 3:21 p.m. Eastern time. And why that's interesting is because what do we do when we're counting down like a major event, like a rocket launch or something like that, right? We go 3, 2, 1, liftoff. Well, there's no mistake that, especially given the magnitude of this particular moon, that we're given a countdown when this thing actually arrives. So they're progression codes, but kind of working in reverse where the time is running out. 3, 2, 1, done. And that is literally the beginning of this new era that we're stepping into. Now, we often associate the beginning of a new year or a new chapter annually around January 1st, but from a lunar perspective, that is actually the new year is actually in March. And so this is one of those really pivotal moments that is marking the end of 2024 and now moving into the beginning of 2025, which for us humans here in this incarnation right now, it's a really major deal. This is the year when we can actually start to manifest and create the things that we have been dreaming about probably our whole lives. And we're working with very different creation energies and a completely new creation cycle. So we're not going to focus on that for this video, but this is a real turning point and a cutoff point, which is no surprise to me that we have numbers sequence like 3, 2, 1 as the arrival of this particular moon. So kind of fun. Okay, from an astrological perspective, what we're also working with is the number 22. And I guess this is astrology as well as numerology, but we're just going to throw it all in. Okay, so the moon itself is in Libra at 22 degrees, and it's opposing the sun, which is in Aries at 22 degrees. So there's a lot of 22s that are showing up here. Now, 22 is a master builder number, and how it's influencing or what it's representing in this particular moon. It's about building this new earth or this new world that we're stepping into at this catalyzing beginning of this new chapter. It's a quantum creation number. So it has the frequency of building and also about spiritual mastery. So if you've been feeling like your buttons have been getting pushed, or you're being maybe pushed to your limits in terms of what you're willing to accept or what you're able to even handle or tolerate, maybe a better word for it, this is in large part why, because as far as our evolutionary journey goes, we're at this point, again, point of no return, where we've been analyzing consciously and subconsciously our way of being, who we have been, our literal identity. in human form and also at a soul level, how we've been progressing. And so this number 22 is coming in hard and strong at this particular moment with this moon to amplify and accentuate all of that, to bring things up and like cause a bit of an eruption. So I don't know if you've been feeling that. If you have, let me know. I'd love to know how this relates to you. Now, this moon as well is creating highly charged relationship scenarios, okay? Also for the same reason, because whatever can be blown up or stirred up at this time is going to illuminate truth and really allow the truth to come to the surface. And that we're going to find is a really, really big theme as we go through. And this is more kind of like the soul journey perspective that we're looking at here. So, what is 22 doing when it's in this position with the other planets in certain signs? What it's doing is it's emphasizing mastery, spiritual mastery. It's emphasizing peace, right? It's also emphasizing harmony and justice, but not just personally for you, but really like mankind's evolutionary journey. So it's playing out for everybody. When something is like at a humanity level, it's obviously not just you. So if it feels like it's just you, take a look around and you'll notice that this is the kind of stuff that's happening everywhere. There's this longing for harmony and balance, which is the influence of Libra. Like Libra is the scales. And again, looking at 22, right? It's like finding balance, the two on one side and the two on the other. That's harmony. That's balance, right? And then, of course, having the 22 with the moon and the 22 related to the sun in terms of position of some of these planets. You can't make this up. It's very much bringing in the frequency and the geometry of balance in so many ways, because that's what we need to progress on our soul's journey. We have to come into balance internally with our energy, our masculine energy, our feminine energy, which is really about, being able to take action and move things forward, to be in momentum while also having structure, but also being able to be in flow and kind of move and bob and weave as changes and things arise. So everything right now is about balance. We'll get into that more. It's also asking us, these numbers of 22, it's asking us to release projections, right? So stop projecting falseness into your outer world, into the world around. Stop showing up as false, right? It's about truth. And there's more that's coming around this whole theme. And also stepping into what we could call sacred relationship dynamics, which is simply the opposite of codependency. So we've been actually playing in this energetic landscape that has been very intentionally trying to dismantle anywhere there is this codynamic, but codependent dynamic playing out, whether that's in intimate relationships, where that is very prevalent. Also, sometimes in business relationships or friendships, like wherever you may feel that, or seeing it even just in other family relationships or friendships, codependency has got to be a thing of the past. We cannot take that into this true expression of 2025, which is supposed to be the most authentic way of being and showing up in the world for yourself and for others. One of the things I would encourage you is notice anywhere in your life that you're seeing these patterns of codependency and really look at them. This particular moon is a perfect time, and we'll go into some of the ritual that you can do if you want to do something more intentional for yourself. But take note of it now, that contemplating, where am I seeing patterns of codependency? Where am I not standing on my own 2 feet, showing myself that I can do this, right? Whether it's financially, whether it is with creativity, whatever it may be willing to look at it in the eyes, be willing to write it on paper, pull it out of your mind, document it, and then face it. And then we'll be able to go through part of this ritual to actually release it. Okay. All right. A little bit more. The day of April 12th, 2025 is a 7 universal day. Now, 7 is a beautiful number, and we've been seeing this repeat over the last few years because of the time that we're moving into, this time of Christed consciousness. Now, the number 7 is about inner alignment, right? When we talk about inner alignment, what are we talking about? Inner alignment is aligning with the truth of who you are, with your soul identity, with the identity and the path of your highest self, your highest expression. So 7 is very symbolic of that. And it's also of oneness, right? Coming back to the one, to the truth, to spiritual wisdom. And also, it is representing, as I mentioned, the diamond cosmic Christed mind. So it's a really, really important number. And especially, there's no mistake that it's this number, which is the day that this moon is here and the day that all of the illumination and the expansion of energies is being amplified through the frequency of 7, all right? Which is why you may be feeling some of these things that I'm going to describe. A desire for more soul embodiment. There is a collective theme going on right now of people wanting to just become more of their authentic selves. And if they don't know what that is, to discover that, like, who am I, right? What am I here to do? Purpose and all of that. It's a portal for inner knowing. So the number 7 and the fact that the moon is arriving this in the frequency of 7 is very big for that. Inner knowing, going inward, seeking that divine truth, ignoring the outer noise, the distractions, what other people are saying, oh, this is the way things are. Oh, this is how things should be. No, how does it feel to you? What is it feeling like your truth is? This one also is very much encouraging stillness. Again, it's that contemplation that's coming in. Get still. Reflect on where you have been. This time and this moon is a great kind of halfway point, very literally a halfway point between the previous new moon, where we're typically planting seeds of intention for this next phase, next lunation. And now we're at the halfway point. Now we're looking back and saying, how have I been making out so far? Where am I on my intentional path? And then making course corrections, which we're doing a lot of right now in these themes, and then moving forward. The other thing too, because of the influence of Neptune, one of the planets involved at this time and in some of the different alignments, this is where the water part is coming in. Super, super activating, something you can easily leverage. And so we're going to do that. And it's very simply, it's the water that I need to drink right now. And any form of stillness, of course, meditation, but it can be as simple as just being still. It can be beautiful to just like go into the tub and just being still, listening to some frequency tones or just quiet. Like here where we're in a beautiful, very rural location, and it is so quiet here right now. My partner and I were just remarking it like, my God, we can't get enough of the stillness and the quiet. It is just amplifying our ability to focus on what matters and to get creative. And then, even though there is so much going on in our lives, stillness is what brings us peace. So do what you need to do. And if it's noisy where you are, there isn't that stillness, you can create that. Put a couple of earbuds in, sink into the tub, and then just zone in. I would say zone out, but you're zoning in. Yeah, enjoy it. Okay. How your higher self is using this moon to support your soul's evolution. I want to talk about this next. So, themes that are showing up in the human experience, just to bring this back full circle. With Pluto in Aquarius and it's squaring Mercury in Taurus. So, you got all these various planets. Long story short, how they're playing out is it's creating mental pressure, this intensity around some mental pressure because of all of these planets at play. Big themes are about truth, uncovering stuff that's been hidden. Some of it is like deeply secret stuff that you just haven't been able to talk about, including things around intimacy, sexuality, a lot of that stuff. Deep psychological insights can also come forward at this time, and they're going to want to be spoken. And there can even be breakdowns in communication that, what happens when you have a breakdown leads to a breakthrough. So if it's sort of something happening with you, don't get nervous, don't shut down, allow the breakdown to happen. If it's you just suddenly not being able to control yourself and you're blurting something out in a conversation, go with it. It is going to be for the greater good. I'm not saying fly off the handle as an excuse for that, but if you find yourself, you're just struggling to keep something together, the conversation breaks down, it goes a little wonky, allow that to happen. There is a lot of intentional energetics around this at a soul level that are asking for things. Just break it down, just throw it all on the table like a bunch of puzzle pieces, and then it can be sorted out. Just be a little aware of power struggles because this is where the lower mind, the ego mind can get involved, especially when it comes to conversation and breakdowns there. We don't need that. It doesn't have to go that way. So just being aware, then when there's some kind of breakdown in conversation, you can be conscious about it. You can be intentional about it and really make the most out of what the revelation is that's coming to the surface is really there for. All right. This is one more fun one before we get into the water ritual. This is another fun one, and this is the presence of a dwarf planet called Eris. Now, I first heard about Eris from Pan Gregory a few years back, and I was like, "Oh my God, this planet Eris, she sounds just like a butt kicker." And really, it is. So, it's the archetype of the disruptor of false harmony. So, talk about illusions, right? Or facades. When things are made to look all beautiful and harmonious, the energy of this particular dwarf planet of Eris, the archetype of this particular Greek goddess, comes in and just basically, swipes her hand across the table and says, "Stop wearing the mask. Stop it. Let's get it out on the surface. I want truth to be revealed." Very unapologetic, very brash, very in your face, very confrontational. And that's the kind of energy that's coming forward. You may be feeling like you have less tolerance at this time. And for sure, this is a planet that is influencing that by a long shot. Yeah. Okay. Some of the things that you may notice. Okay. So there's this wanting to reveal what's behind the mask. Just like take the freaking mask off. It's like kind of like frustration energy. Like you can't take it anymore. Whether it's something you're witnessing, I know I've had that a lot along my whole journey. I kind of wonder where Eris has been in my path, but just like cannot tolerate the ego masks that are just it's like lying to ourselves. So where have you been sacrificing your authenticity to keep the peace? Question to ask yourself. And I would say write this down as something to journal. Particularly, we'll see this in systems of power or gender struggles between masculine and feminine, and also, in collective narratives. There's a lot of that going around right now. Where have you felt like you've been silenced, where you can't speak your truth? Now, that could be by an seeming outside opposing force, or where are you silencing yourself? I was telling a sister the other day, like, I was doing that to myself in a long time past relationship where I would just refuse to let myself speak the truth that was there because of all kinds of fear programming that I had going on. So, where are you doing this? Where are you not willing to speak the truth that is really coming to the surface? And eventually, for me, what happened was like, okay, it didn't matter how afraid I was of what was going to happen with our relationship, or talk about codependency. Would I be able to make it if we dissolved our relationship? What would happen next? Where would I go? How would things work? All of these fears of the lower mind eventually got to a place where it didn't matter how afraid I was, I couldn't keep silent. So, where are you with that? You may be feeling something like that yourself. If you are, know that you're supported and that bringing things to the surface now is going to serve you and everyone around you. And I mean everyone, no matter what it looks like on the surface. Just know that and trust that completely. This energy can feel disruptive and confrontational. I think I was hinting at that already, but it's always about liberation through truth. It's always the goal. liberation through truth. Truth can seem scary. It can feel like getting hit in the face with a 2x4, but at the end of the day, the truth sets you free. So don't be afraid of it. If you've been holding back for a long period of time, know that this is the perfect time. If you've been waiting for the right time, this is it. Okay. As far as our evolutionary path as souls, there is an imperative that we must reveal the truth. You can't deny it anymore. There is no more hiding the truth. We see it a lot in politics. Looking at the US, truth is being revealed. Corruption, everything. It's beautiful. Now, it's very confronting for those who are involved or those who are tied to it, but it has to be revealed. It has to be cleaned up. That's what we're doing now to create a brand new slate, not just in the States, but everywhere in the planet. We're doing our own version of it, and we're doing it in our own homes and in our own temples as well. Tell me if you can relate to this, but the energies of like righteousness, right? Anger, confrontation can be coming up, and forcing things to come into the light and be seen. Last time I want to say this, just trust and know that if that's happening for you, it's in divine order. And it is, in fact, the divine trying to bring order to chaos. And sometimes the way to get there is we have to create chaos first, stir things up, bang things up so that everything comes loose. And then as things settle, we can clean the dust and know where all the pieces have laid and only take the pieces that now fit forward into this beautiful puzzle that we are all piecing together in this next chapter. All right. Last piece here, just about the influences energetically. There has been some really intense solar activity happening as well. There was a large solar flare and CME right around the full moon. So that was happening very intentionally at a higher self, soul, and creation level to give us the encodements, because encodements come through solar rays. And so it was just like a perfect solar ejection blasting from the sun, sending the encodements forward as we're in this particular lunation, which is opening us up energetically very much, shining the light on what needs to be seen, creating a massive purge between the solar activity and a Schumann resonance spike, which took place, get this, just before midnight, like about 2 hours before midnight Eastern. There was a blackout. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with what a blackout is, but a blackout is like a cosmic / consciousness reboot button. And so it's when the frequency of it's not so much the earth, it's the earth's ionosphere. It's like the surface around the earth or right immediately above the earth's surface. It almost stops completely. Like it's undetectable. It's like the heartbeat. We associate it with like the heartbeat of the planet. Well, it's like the heart stops. What is that similar to? When the heart is stopped and unplugged, it's like you're technically dead for a moment. And then when they restart the heart, you're alive again. On an energetic level, that is what a blackout is like. And that happened just before the turning point into April 12th, Eastern, by like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then immediately after that, when we crested over into the 12th of April, being today, that's when Schumann spiked. And we had a tremendous energetic spike that lasted for about 7 hours. So it went through all midnight, going into the wee hours of the morning. All I can say is there is so much intentionality around the various things that are happening in the ionosphere, on the planet, cosmically, with the numbers. You couldn't plan this if you tried, but it's all taking place. And it's taking place with such divine perfection and support us into the launch of this brand new era and this brand new phase and cycle that we're stepping into right now. So it's really exciting. But with that, if you're feeling perhaps from the Schumann resonance, particularly. You could have had trouble sleeping last night. You may have had wild dreams, considering it was taking place then. You could have felt extra tired in the morning when you woke up, or maybe extra thirsty, or having trouble focusing, or like me, really focused, like incredible focus, incredible clarity, because it does play with a lot of our energetics that way. And different people experience it differently, but those are the most common things. Okay. I don't know if you heard that, but my dog just kind of choked in the background. Okay. So, lastly, before we get into this water ritual, the spiritual and cosmic themes that are taking place right now. So, it's about truth illumination, right? And cracking open the illusions that have been upheld as false truths, divine justice, reconciliation, right? Libra is also the sign of cosmic law. So, we're now coming into and enforcing that law. No more lies. No more lies. It's got to be about truth and balance. That's going to set us free. Quantum restructuring. This number 22 is all about that, helping us build this new earth playground that we're stepping into. And it is a perfect time because of all of this to be working with the element of water. Finally, here we are. Okay, so using the alchemy of water to cleanse and purify and transmute and amplify things that we want to create. And that's what we're going to talk about next. So, if you've been wondering how to create a ritual for yourself that can really help you amplify this particular moon, then water is by far the way to go. And I love this because I really have an affinity personally for water. So I am a triple Aquarius and I am the water bearer. The sign is water bearer Aquarius, right? Not I am, but my sign, the blueprinting that I feel and is active within me is a lot about that. And we all, though, are feeling this because of where the alignments are just laying out with this particular moon. So we may as well play with it. And this is how we can leverage the energies that are at play right now. So whether you identify particularly with water, you'll probably resonate at this time with doing some kind of a water ceremony or water ritual, working with the element of water now because its presence energetically in this alignment. First of all, when can you do this? You can do it at many times, but there's a particular window that it's going to be most effective. And that is going to be a couple of days before this full moon and then a couple of days after. That is the broad range that you can play within. So if you're catching this video and it's after the 12th, like the 13th, no problem. You can still do it then. And technically, you could still do it on the 14th as well. But you're going to want to work with water. And I'm going to give you an example. Okay. A bottle of water. You can put it in anything, but make it something clear. I like to work with glass. It's very clear, it's resonant of water, and just fill it up with pure water. Ideally, something that is like clear, filtered, not something that's all dirty and murky. You want it to be as pure as possible because water is a memory stick. Hey, puppy. I got my puppy down here. All right. So, working with water, right? So, you need a glass jar or a bowl, spring water, filtered water, it's all good. You can take a piece of paper and then we'll do some journaling. But so a piece of paper would be the second piece. Optional also is you could have crystals. You could work with crystals as well as part of this. And then just someplace outside or next to a window where you don't have any obstruction, where this can be sitting, your water can be sitting under or exposed to the moonlight. Okay. So the things we need, glass jar or glass bowl, a piece of paper, and a pen to write something with, crystals, which are optional, and a place to put this jar outside or by a window. Okay, first thing you're going to do is come into a place of intention. You don't want to be rushing to do this. Come into a place of stillness, create some space for yourself. All you need really is about 10 minutes. You could make it as short as 5 minutes if you don't have the time. You could make this as far as like half an hour long. It could be all evening for you if you wanted to. You could really extend this. But here's the basics. One, write your reflections. Take a few minutes. Where have you come over the last 2 weeks? Where do you need to find more balance within yourself? within your relationships or your career. Where are you out of balance and where do you need to come back into balance? Where do you need more harmony? Make your reflections, think about them, make them in writing, put them in writing on this piece of paper. Okay. And take a few minutes. It's so, so important to just create the space for ourselves to sit with things and contemplate. And this moon and this ritual, give yourself permission to do it. Next, what do you want to create in this next chapter? So now we're going to work with the number 22, okay, that master number. Write down as well, what do you want to create moving forward? And this is preparation for the new moon as well, that's coming in 2 weeks from now. Think about what you want to create using the mastery number of 22 and write that down as well. Number 3, you're going to grab your water. Now you can do 2 things. You could place your paper underneath this, and then you could just put this by the window, put it outside under the moonlight, whatever works for you. A lot of times, or you could actually even wrap it around. If you're wrapping it around your glass, you remember Masaru Emoto? He did the studies with water and intention. So when we're placing our intentions under the water in a glass vessel that is clear, we're allowing the energetics of what's written on the paper to come into the water and imprint the water itself. So that's what we're doing here. Other playful things that I've loved doing is actually writing right on the jar itself. Now, I like to use Sharpies, but you could use something like metallic markers that are like erasable. That's fun, like you use them for wine glasses. You could write all kinds of beautiful things like your intention on this jar. I love that. Maybe we'll do that another time together. But you can do whatever you like as far as imprinting your water with those intentions. Okay. And then you're going to place it down wherever you want it to be receiving the light from the moon. Now, if you know me and the work that I share, it's not so much about the moon. It's about the sun's rays that are coming and reflecting off the moon, using it almost like a magnifier so that the sun, the encodements of that then go into this water. Okay? All right. It's a whole other chapter. We'll talk about that another time. Then, with this jar sitting, sit with it and just consciously through your heart, I would say hold it like in front of your heart center and imprint it with your heart. Feel in your heart and your mind, unify those 2 aspects of your presence and imbue the water now through your physical vessel into this glass vessel, carrying your intentions and your desire through a portal of love into the water vessel. Okay. Now, this is also when you could place your crystal in here. Rose quartz is beautiful because it does carry that frequency of harmony, relationship, love, unconditional love. So you could place this in there. Just be very careful because you can crack your bottle that way if you're not careful, and then place it down. Now, the idea is that that's the basics of your ritual. If you wanted to, you can, of course, set a beautiful altar for yourself or just light a candle. Play some beautiful music, whatever it is that really just allows you to get into stillness and presence. You could, as I say, do this whole thing in a bath. Some beautiful rose petals, crystals. It can be a whole thing. But we're just talking about this, okay? Nice and simple, because you can't really put yourself in the tub outside in moonlight. If you can, go for it. That'd be wicked. The last piece of this is you want to keep it under the moonlight for at least 2 to 3 hours. It can stay there all night, but then ideally, well, let me tune in and ask about that. Yeah. You want it to be under the moonlight because we want these rays of the sun to go reflecting off the moon. That's part of the alchemical nature of what is taking place in the jar. So if you can, you want to remove the jar before daylight comes. So once your water has been resting under the moonlight, what I highly, highly recommend doing is then using that water as kind of like a tonic. Now, you can use it for whatever really resonates most with you. I'll give you several ideas, but one of the things that I love to do is if I have left water to be infused with encodements and intention, I love to use it as like an activator, but as a tonic. I would take the water and I'll keep it sealed. I will use that throughout the day, sometimes taking one shot of it a day, maybe drinking it if I want to really be potent about it. I might drink the whole thing in one day, but you can use it for many things. So drinking it is one thing because it contains the memory of the encodements, first of all, that was coming through from the moon. It also contains the energetic signature of your own intention, and it has your own soul's imprint because if you're leaving that, like I was saying, like imprint it with love through your heart, your soul's essence will be in here as well. So it's going to help you to continue to step into embodiment of your true essence. So I don't want to frame too much on how to use it. Just know that you can use this for many things. Topically, like we said, you can consume it. You can water your plants with it. You can bring it back out into the earth and bless your property. In fact, I'd love to know what are some of the other things that come to mind for you? How would you use this water? Okay. So once you have basically had the experience of creating the ritual around this and the water's ready, it's up to you what you do with it. Okay. Last piece, folks. Remember that this time is an evolutionary catalyst. So if you're feeling tense, if you're feeling like that energy of Eris is in you and you're just here to like tear things down and take a club to it, know that there is a purpose behind it. Okay. It's ultimately about finding balance. It's about finding harmony and really being able to experience, which is also present today in a big way, the energy of Venus. Okay. Harmony, beauty, love, creativity, artistic expression, all of that is really what this day is birthing as well. There's a huge presence of Venus today because it's going direct today after being in retrograde for many weeks. And so it's all aligning to help you at the end of the day to experience and express more of who you really are and what you really, really want deep down, right in the core of your heart, which is the portal, the passage, the communication chakra for your soul. So use this time, leverage these energies. Whether you do a water ceremony or not is not critical, but it is a beautiful time to play with this. Any questions, love your comments, leave a message below. And until next time, sending you so much love and so much appreciation for the journey that you are on, for everything that you are shedding, letting go of, dismantling in your mind, purging emotionally, energetically. Thank you. Thank you. Because what you do for yourself, you do for all of us. And together we're creating shortcuts for each other on this evolutionary journey and adventure that we're on. So much love to you, and we'll see you again in the next video. Bye for now.